I am obsessed with this film. I cannot tell you guys enough how unbelievable it is. It's funny. I feel like when I first heard about it, someone kind of oversimplified it and they said, "Oh, like it's an alien movie." And I thought, "Okay, that's cool." And then I pressed play, and it took me all of about 5 minutes to realize, like, "Oh, that is an oversimplification. Like that is almost an insult just to call it an alien movie." I'm curious, at what point in your process of reading the script, or with talking with Andrew, or just filming it, did you realize it's not an alien movie, and it's almost an insult to call it that?
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much immediately reading it. I mean, no one had framed it to me that way, so I didn't really view it that way. And so that didn't really come until after we were done, because like even when we were shooting this, I never thought it was like an alien movie. And I definitely think that that's actually almost too much of like a spoiler. I think that it's like unfair to like call it an alien movie when I think that like, I don't know, like I just think that like the film is like so many other things, and it happens to also kind of include this extraterrestrial like aspect. I think most, and the way the movie was sort of described to me by Andrew was like he described it as like a Linklater-y, what did he say? He said it was like a Linklater-y, sort like a cross between did he say Spielberg movie, or I'm trying to remember how he described it to me exactly, because there's like a cross between like a Linklater movie, which is like how I was reading the script, that made a lot of sense to me, and like something else, and I can't remember what the other thing is, but
I agree. He said he might have said another movie. I think I remember. I think he said to me, it's as if Linklater made a UFO movie.
Okay, maybe that's
like, how would you how would it actually happen? What would they really talk about? Like the questions that it seems like Linklater's asking.
Yeah,
like,
that's a great. It almost feels like, what if Linklater made Close Encounters?
Yeah,
like that
yeah.
almost sort of feels
wow,
like what it would be. That's like, you should put that on the poster. I feel like that's like the best sell. I want to talk about these sort of like long takes, kind of the oneers, obviously you guys call them. I'm curious what that process is like for you guys when you're shooting it, the pressure that you're feeling, because it's 10 minutes long, you get 9 minutes into it and mess up and you got to start over, and what kind of preparation you guys have to deal with. Because I can't imagine you guys had a ton of time on this movie. So how do you prepare for those shots?
I'll let Jake talk about that, especially because I think he had the worst part of that.
Oh, no way! Your oneer is the most impressive preparation.
Oh, I'm talking about, but if I messed up, it was on me. It was only, it was just me.
Okay, yes.
But like, I think you definitely had the more challenging.
I think I had the most nerve-wracking moment of my life on this movie, which was that the amazing oneer in the middle of the movie that I won't spoil, but it goes through the town. It starts on Sierra smoking a cigarette, and it ends on me smoking a cigarette. And all I have to do is smoke a cigarette. But if I do one thing wrong, I ruin this like 6-hour like lighting feat that these guys did. And so I was just sitting there sweating, like, don't mess this up, do not mess this up. I didn't even have to do anything, but that was stressful.
Yeah, I got to start the oneer, so I wasn't nearly as concerned. I mean, obviously I was like, definitely, I'm not saying that I was like chilling, but I definitely probably wasn't as nervous as Jake, because I'm at least the one starting it off.
I want to talk about Andrew as a director. You guys were mentioning Spielberg. I had the pleasure of interviewing Richard Dreyfuss one time, and I talked to him about being on the set of Jaws, working with this young director that no one really knew, and sort of when things he would start to pick up on that made him realize that this kid was someone special. He wasn't going to be forgotten. I think we're about to see a lot of amazing things out of Andrew after seeing this film. I'm curious, what did you pick up from him as a director that made you almost go like, this guy might be onto something special?
So many things. I mean, I guess the first time that I realized that he was a special director just for actors in particular was he asked me to not only write some of my own news cast, like even if we weren't going to use them, like just write some of whatever it might say and have it in your head. And he also asked me to come up with my own brand of cigarettes. And he was like, and I came up with this brand called Yorktown Golds, which is totally made up. And he had Adam Dietrich, the amazing art designer, make the case. So it's like those details mattered to him. And I think they matter for actors. Like it makes you feel like you're not only like a real part of it, but in those moments, 4 minutes into a take, it's like those little details that make you sink into it. You're like, oh wow, I'm really here.
That's awesome. I love that. Where'd you get that name from? I
just like Yorktown is like this. so much about this movie is like nostalgia, and I think it's a Revolutionary War battle, Battle of Yorktown, I think. And so I just thought, well, it like fits with the whole nostalgic thing.
You know, one of the things I thought was really interesting, sort of a theme in this movie, is this idea of listening to voices that at that time especially were not being listened to. And I'm not necessarily talking about like listening to voices from above, but two of the main voices that you guys hear from is a black man and a woman, like two people who in a town like that in the 1950s might not have been listened to. And I'm sort of curious if you could just sort of talk about that theme. And was that something that you guys talked about on the set?
Yeah, and an elderly woman at that.
Yes, yes.
You know, ageism is also like a thing as well. And, you know, not Jake, you, Jake, but yes. Andrew and I talked, you know, about Faye a lot. And we kind of, at least for me, part of my process, I kind of, you know, just based on her time and her place, I sort of made the assumption that her interests, you know, science, technology and stuff definitely would not have probably been encouraged, you know, at that time, especially being a, you know, a female in a small town. And the fact that, you know, Faye, you know, probably has that sort of, you know, flack that she gets for it, or just, you know, being viewed as kind of weird or strange. She like doesn't care. She like is so unbothered by what other people think of her interests. And she's so just like unapologetic about talking to anyone who will listen about it. And so I think that, you know, just all those different aspects of the film, you know, giving people voices, or, you know, just shining light on different people's stories that, you know, in that certain time and place definitely would not have necessarily been, you know, brought to light. Jake, I don't know if you have any.
No, totally. I agree. I love that part of the movie, that it actually, you know, it honors that the 50s was not great for a lot of people.
Yeah,
and,
you know, there's all this, sort of nostalgia sometimes for that time period. And like, I understand, but like at the same time, it wasn't an awesome time for a lot of people, most people, you know, especially in America. And so I think that a movie that doesn't, you know, that still captures that nostalgia, but doesn't gloss over the fact that it wasn't great for a lot of people, I think is important. And I think that's a really interesting balance that the film has.
Yeah, it's genuine, which I love. I'm going to wrap up with I'm going to be honest, I have just a spoiler question. I'm not going to air this on my show in Fox. I'm going to post this online with all the proper, you know, like signs and making sure that I'm not ruining it for anybody. But just, I feel like after this movie's over, people are going to have some questions. I'm just sort of curious. The film leaves off with this idea that that Faye and Everett might have been abducted. Obviously, it's not answered, which I love. But I'm sort of curious. Did you two ever sit down and have a conversation about what you think happens and what you think happens to your characters after the final frame was
abducted? I think they're definitely abducted for sure. I mean, beyond that, I don't know, Jake. We probably joked around about what happened to Everett and Faye.
I know, we must have like come up with a bunch of ideas in between takes or something.
Yeah.
Like what really happens to them. But I can't remember actually talking about what happens beyond the fact that I agree. I do think that they get abducted.
Yeah, at least in a serious manner. I don't think we ever like discussed it. Like, what really happens? I think we're just like, wouldn't it be funny if Everett and Faye just like get up there and then it's just like, you know, aliens are being weird. I don't know. We were just like joking around about it. Like
they raise the baby, and it's like
and it's just totally fine. I just pictured like them coming back. And I don't know if you guys have seen that SNL sketch with is it like Ryan Gosling and Kate McKinnon, and they're coming back and they all have like different experiences of what happens after being abducted by aliens.
It's different for me. She's like,
Kate McKinnon.
I love that sketch. It's my favorite.
And you guys would just have two completely different. Seriously, guys, I cannot begin to tell you how much I genuinely love this movie. Thank you so much for coming out and talk to me about it. I cannot wait to tell everyone in Chicago. I mean, it's on their TVs. They're stuck at home. They have no reason to watch it. It's a masterpiece. And hopefully next time we all talk, it'll be in person.
Awesome. Can't wait.
Thank you so much, man.
All right, guys, be safe. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.